Rabotai, good morning. With the permission of my father, in the Sefer Yalkut Lekach Tov in Parsha V'Zot HaBaracha, he brings down in Perek Lamed Daled and Pasuk Daled, when Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabino, he says to him, "Hiriticha beinecha v'shama lo ta'avor." When Hashem said to Moshe Rabino that this is the land that your forefathers inherited, Aaron, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, he says, "I have let you see it with your own eyes. However," he says, "you shall not cross there." We all know that Moshe Rabbeinu did not enter into Eretz Yisrael. Midrash Rabbah in Parsha Maseh brings down, what does it mean, Hariticha be'einecha, that Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu, he let him see the land. So he says over here, Milamed she'erehu Gehenam. It comes to teach over here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Moshe Rabbeinu Gehenam. Amar Moshe Rabbeinu said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mini donin bo. Who's going to be judged over there? Amar lo, Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Haresha'im v'haposhi'im bi. The wicked people and the people that go against me, that sin against me. Rabotai, listen to this carefully what the Midrash Rabbah says. Hidchil Moshe mityerem mina gehenom. Moshe Rabbeinu, the one who had received the Torah, as we know from Hashem's right hand, through fire that was given to the Jewish people, he was afraid of Gehenna, a person like himself. Amar lo, he said to him, Hiriticha beinecha. He says, there you go, that's what he said, I showed it to you in your eyes, V'shama lo tavor, but you yourself will not pass over there. You yourself, Moshe Rabbeinu, are not going to Gehenna. You have nothing to worry about. The Saba Mikelim brings down over here, he wants to understand, how can Moshe Rabbeinu, Rabotai, Moshe Rabbeinu, out of all the people, was afraid of Gehenna. He says over here, Mi poched yoter me'onesh, Rabotai, who's afraid more of punishment? Ha'ish asher eimat ha'onesh ba'alav bepeta pitom. Who's afraid more of punishment? If a punishment comes on him suddenly, not knowing what's going on, bam, he got a ticket. He got a, I don't know, chashon. Something happened. So he was not ready. He was unexpected. Oh, ha'ish asher kvar hichin et atzmo lezeh. Which person is more afraid? A person when things happen to him suddenly, or a person who prepares himself for it? The answer is very simple, Rabotai. At the shul, the answer is bevadai, for sure. Shemi shelo chashav me'olam ki anosh yanesh. One who never thought about being punished, living in this world, having a good time. No problem, Rabotai. You could do whatever you want, but you have to remember there's going to be a bill to be paid in the end. Yamis ha'onesh ha'pitomi. The sudden punishment is going to break him. Et libo v'yishbor et rucho. It's going to break his heart and it's going to break his spirit. When a person is not ready, Rabotai, for what's coming, that in itself can give a person a heart attack. Chas v'shalom lo aleinu. Ma she'enken, but which wouldn't be the case, mi shehichin et atzmo lezeh mibe'od mo'ed, kvar tziyer l'nafsho et ha'onesh v'yat shekimo lezbol, Rabotai. But which wouldn't be the case to a person who already prepared himself way before this, and he imagined and he envisioned that such and such a thing can happen, so he should be prepared. Rabotai, there's two types of people. People that live in this world, having a good time, not paying attention what's going to be in the end. And there are other people always looking to what's going to be in the end, and as they're going along, they're preparing to make sure that in the end it's going to be good. He brings down over here and he says, HaTzadikim mikamim et ma'amar Chazal. The Tzadikim, they fulfill what the Chazal say. Lo'olam yir'eh dayan atzmo ki ilu gehenam petucha lo mitachtav. A judge, whenever he's judging, he has to always see in himself that Gehenom is opened underneath him. In Masech Yevamot Daf Kuftet, why, Rabotai? Because we want to make sure that he's also afraid and he shouldn't judge the person the wrong way. He shouldn't be bribed.
Biased.
Say it again.
Biased.
Who?
Biased.
Biased. He shouldn't be biased. Okay. So they learn from over here, he says, Kol Adam hu dayan la'atzmo. Rabotai, listen carefully. Every single person is a judge unto himself. ובמיוחד Moshe Rabino עליו השלום, especially Moshe Rabbeinu, may peace be on him, אשר התורה ניתנה לו במתנה, that the Torah was given to him as a present, ובכל רגע ורגע התבונן, every single moment Moshe Rabbeinu was contemplating, ועיין כיצד להתנהג על פי התורה. Moshe Rabbeinu, every single רגע, every single moment, every single step, person who received the Torah was always saying, am I going according to the Torah? This is Moshe Rabbeinu. בנוסף לכל, in addition to all this, הרי הוא שופט כל ישראל, he would also judge all the Jewish people, ולפיכך אין ספק שגיהנום הייתה תמיד פתוחה מתחתיו. There's no doubt, רבותיי, why by Moshe Rabbeinu, Gehenom was always open underneath him. לאור דברים אלו, רבותיי, in light of these words, אומר הסבא מקלם, זצ"ל, the סבא מקלם says like this, פתוחה בפנינו הדרך להתעורר ולהתפעל מדברי המדרש הנ"ל. A person, רבותיי, has to wake up and he has to take action from this midrash that we just brought down. הנה משה האיש אשר כל ימי חייו היה גיהנום פתוח מתחתיו. Moshe Rabbeinu, all the days of his life, Gehenom was open underneath him. איש אשר בין מלאכים עלה עד שנתראה פן ישרפו אותו בהבל פיהם. A man, רבותיי, of God, when he went up amongst the malachim where he was already afraid, maybe the angels are going to burn him with their hot air. הוא בעצמו גם הודיע, he himself also informed, את ישראל קודם מתן תורה, עניין שכר ועונש, before they received the Torah, about the punishment and reward, like is explained in Masech Shabbat, אף על פי כן, even so, איש זה, החל להתערב מן הגיהנום, כאילו אתה הוא תחילת פחדה מן הגיהנום. רבותיי, the Saba Mikelem is saying, I don't understand. All his life we know that Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid that Gehenom is open under him. Why does the pasuk say right now, "Hiriticha be'einecha"? I showed your eyes, and the Midrash Rabbah says that Hashem showed him Gehenom now. And then he says, "V'sham lo tavor." It's implied that Moshe Rabbeinu began to be afraid now, not all his life. He only began to be afraid towards the end of his life, towards Zot HaBracha. Ketzad yesh la'avin zot, how can one understand this? הרי כל תכלית חובת הדיין לראות הגיהנום פתוחה מתחתיו אין אלא כדי שיתערב. The whole reason, רבותיי, why we say that a judge should look like the Gehenom is open under him, that's only for him to be afraid. איך יעלה איפה על דת שרק עתה התחיל לפחות מהגיהנום? How could it be, רבותיי, that now in Parshat V'zot HaBaracha, where we clearly know that Moshe Rabbeinu was always afraid, only now that he started to be afraid of Gehenom, that he asked Hashem, who's being judged there? The answer is, he says at Teshuvah, Gam etzel isha Elohim, even by Moshe Rabbeinu, a man of God, Ke Moshe eino domesh shemi'al liri'ah. Rabotah, it's not the same when you hear to when you see. Hamusag shaya leMoshe Rabbeinu, ad az manhigonam lo haya elam mikoch shmiya od Gehenom. Up to now, Rabotai, Moshe Rabbeinu only heard about Gehenom. But Rabotai, once he came over to this parsha, Hiriticha beinecha. But once he saw the Rabotai, Lo nitkayem bo ad hayom acharav bechayav. Once he already saw it, seeing the Gehenom is what made him realize how dangerous it could be. That's why he asked Hashem in Parsha V'zot HaBaracha, who's going to be judged over there? And this, Rabotai, he brings down over here the Saba Mikel, and he wants to explain like this. Because you have to remember, Rabotai, it's one whole piece which is connected. We asked the question before, which person is going to be affected suddenly? Who's more prepared? A person who lives life and just something happens and then he's not unexpectedly gets shaken, or a person who always prepares himself. We learn from Moshe Rabbeinu that a person always has to see himself, Rabotai, as if Gehenom is opened under him. We'll see why. The Saba Mikel says like this, didan. What is the conclusion to us? Yavin ha'adam ad kama michuyavu likarev tiyurei Gehenom lefanav. A person needs to understand how much of an obligation he has to seek Gehenna before him. Why? כדי שיוכל לסור מרע. In order for him to be able to move away from bad. A lot of people feel that Gehenom, you think, oh, you can't live life. Just the opposite, Rabotai. That's what's going to give you life. That doesn't take away life. By doing mitzvot gives you life. By doing avirot detracts from your life. A person feels that he can do X, Y, and Z. Certain avirot, Rabotai, chayav karet. Certain avirot, Rabotai, chasusham. A person can not only be chayav karet, but it could be also karet alali lo leinu on his whole mishpach, chas v'shalom. So a person thinks, he gives tzedakah, he davens, but he does other averos on the side. He thinks that's going to give him a long life. Why should I listen? What? No, Rabotai. The truth is, a person needs to imagine and envision. What are you going to do on the day of judgment after 120? What are you going to come and tell Hashem that on this day you wasted X amount of time? On this day you slept with this married woman. On this day you spoke Lashon. On this day you stole money from this guy. On this day you cursed your wife. On this day you beat up your wife. On this day you didn't show up home. What is the person going to answer to Hashem on that day? What answer, Rabotai? We don't think about that day because we don't believe that day is going to come, Rabotai. Until it suddenly comes, like we always hear all the time. People walk, heart attack, car crash, accident. Rabotai, and then it's too late. מזה רבותיי נוכל להבין כמה עמל צריך האדם לעמול אפילו על חטא קל אחד רבותיי. From here a person can understand and how much a person has to toil, exert himself to try to understand what does it mean a small sin rebotai. What does it mean? Sometimes people speak vulgar peh, which is not a small sin, it's a very big error. To curse chas v'shalom, to speak negative rebotai, these are very big errors. It's nivul peh. The Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat, anybody who's decreased 70 years of good life because of his nivul peh, because of one curse with rebotai, if he doesn't do teshuvah, Hashem can erase that and give him 70 years of bad life. You yourself do it to yourself.
Worst enemy.
Rabotai, what does it mean? Afil ached kal echad. Even on one small avera, Rabotai, we don't see the things that we do when we see that they're averas. And this is very sad. And this is why, Rabotai, when we come to shul, guys, you have to understand, I'm not a policeman. I'm just letting you know what I see, what goes on. When you come to shul and you have a person, the way he comes, the way he speaks, the way he dresses, the way he's on his phone doing davening in front of the heichal, Rabotai. I want to see you do this in front of the judge one time. One time to come and speak in front of the heichal. You say this is the Torah, this is not the Torah, Moshe Rabino. Everybody, Rabotai, we're faking it. Rabotai, we're not being emet with ourselves. If you only knew like the Shulchan Aruch Paskins in Siman Kuf Chavdal Halacha Zayin, the punishment that awaits a person for speaking during Chazarat Hashatz, and also in Kuf Nun Alus about the punishment the person gets, speaking in general in shul, that has nothing to do with the shul. Rabotai, you would not want to come to shul. I'm not telling you not to come. But if you are already over here, be careful, Rabotai. Understand that on every single sin, you will have to give an accounting. Umikol sheken chamur, Rabotai, and for sure, when it comes to severe sins, v'kal v'chomer al kam chatim. What happens if a person has many sins, Rabotai? And this is the saddest part today, that we think, right, everybody loves Talmud Torah kineged kulam. Rabotai, but also you have to know Masechet Yerushalmi. Bittul Torah kineged kulam. That means you could have a person, Rabotai, that sits and watches 1 hour of basketball, 1 hour of sports, 1 hour of news, Rahman L'Saloleinu. Rabotai, it's as if he slept with a married woman, a zonah, he ate pig, he shaved, he desperate Shabbat, he ate on Yom Kippur. All the verses of Torah go on your head. For what do you need it, Rabotai? And you look at that guy that sleeps with a married woman, oh, he's a bad guy. No, the person that does Bittul Torah is worse off than anybody else, Rabotai. That's what Rabotai, the Chazal tells, and it's brought down also in the Biur Al-Khan, Mishnah Berurah, Siman Kuf Nun Aleph. A person, Rabotai, if a person did Avodah Zarah, if a person did Shfichut Damim, if a person slept with a married woman, Rabotai, Hashem said, I could look over it, you come back, I will overlook it. But a person who wastes time from learning Torah, Hashem said, that I cannot overlook. Why? Because Chazal explained, as long as a person is learning Torah, we keep away the judgments from us, like his brother Masechet Berachot. But once we stop learning Torah, Rabotai, for all the areas that we have to be punished. That's what happens after Chas v'Shalom. That's what he says, Rabotai, Harachaman Yatzaleinu ve'Ezreinu. L'shuv b'teshuvah, may Hashem, may He save us, and may He help us to turn back to teshuvah. V'liyot yir'ei chet, Rabotai, the person has to be afraid of sin. V'zeu baracha she'ein l'maleh min, Rabotai, this is a blessing that there's nothing more high than this, being afraid to sin, Rabotai. A person needs to realize, this world you come, this world is not free. Like they say, there is no free lunch. In the end, Rabotai, a person is going to have to answer for every little good and bad deed. Baruch Adonai L'olam, Amen, Amen, Rabbi Chaim Igal, Shomer HaTzakat Baruch Hu, Lezakot. Et Yisrael leficha hir ba lahem Torah u'mitzvot shenemar Adonai chafetz, leman sheyagdil Torah v'dir